Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Foocast. My name is Finn and today I am joined by nobody. It's just me, baby. It's just me. That's right, I'm actually doing my first solo podcast today because I'm going to be talking about Evil Dead the game. Now why does that mean I'm doing this by myself? Well, it's because I'm the only person I know in the little podcast group that's played it. Well, technically that's not true. Robert has played one game. But I just feel that I'm in a good mood for doing a little solo podcast, and if this goes well, maybe I'll do more stuff by myself. You guys can decide if you want to do more solo podcasts and stuff like that. So, yes, Evil Dead the game. Now, when I kind of left YouTube for a little bit, I've still kind of out of it. It depends when I come back with motivation and work and stuff like that. But when I left for all those months, I got a bit obsessed with a little franchise called Evil Dead. Now, why am I talking about Evil Dead specifically? Is because this franchise is giving me so much inspiration and just love for horror, practical effects, and just Ash Williams in general. You know, and the moment I heard that they were doing a game, I was just absolutely just really excited. Now, at the same time, I was really concerned because every single thing, this might be a bit of a hot take, but every single piece of Evil Dead material that we've got so far has been absolutely fantastic. Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. The reboot, every single episode of the show has just been phenomenal. It's just been so good. And so once the game was being announced, I really wanted it to be good because I wanted to continue at that streak of just Evil Dead knocking it out of the park every fucking time. And so I played the first beta. I played the first one a few months ago, about a month ago, and I don't know why I do not know why I didn't make a video on it. I really don't know, but I played last weekend's beta on Xbox only, where I still don't understand why it's just on Xbox. And every worry I had is just disappeared. Evil Dead the game is not only shattered my expectations, it is one of the greatest games that I've played currently, and it's just a beta. Now maybe I'm going a little overboard with that statement, but I just need to sit down and talk to you about how good this game is. And considering it's a beta, I'm so surprised on how much that they've improved over the first weekend. How smooth everything is, how many bugs that they've fixed, just all the little additions that they've made. It's just been incredible. So I'll just get straight into it, and obviously I'm going to be making references to all sorts of horror games like Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, and I'll just jump straight into that actually. So I love both games. I love Dead by Daylight, I love Friday the 13th. Each one has its flaws, I know. And Evil Dead, the game, is very much taking inspiration from both of those and just improved over the concept of just asymmetric horror just in general. So you've got DBD, it's a great game, but it's one of those games where it can be very just rage-inducing, you know. There's the amount of times I've had to just take breaks from Dead by Daylight because if you've played Dead by Daylight, you know what I mean. You would hop on and there'd be a killer would just constantly chase you and only you, and then you just get camped on and then that's it. So you'd lose your streak and you lose all your great items. And so that's why sometimes I take a bit of a break from Dead by Daylight, and it can be a bit too repetitive sometimes, but that's fine. It's still a great game. I love DBD. And you got Friday the 13th. Now, I love that game. I'm so sad that they actually discontinued it because they lost the licensing and all that other jazz. And it's not the case of that you're just in Dead by Daylight where you're literally a defenseless survivor running around. Here, Friday the 13th gives you weapons and, you know, you have more things to do in Friday the 13th. And Evil Dead takes both of those concepts, like I said, and just improves on it so much. Not only can you use weapons against the main Deadite that's attacking you, and when you die, you're not just dead permanently. You can respawn And then even if you full on die permanently, your soul can be carried by players and then be resurrected. And that's in that way, it makes it so much more casual. Because if you're playing Friday the 13th, once you're dead, you're dead. You got to spectate. While I think that fits Friday the 13th perfectly, it's just Dead by Daylight just makes it so much more fun and casual. And it's like the case with Dead by Daylight. You know, you've got a lot more things to do. You're not just a defenseless survivor that has to worry about perks and just tactics and just all this different jazz you got to worry about in Dead by Daylight. Evil Dead the game is just so simple. You pick your character, you hop into a match, you can pick your different perks and your weapons, and you can just get on with stuff. It's not the case of Dead by Daylight, you're just sitting there doing a generator and then the killer comes and that's when you really start to have fun, you know. Evil Dead the game, it's when, even when the main demon isn't even with you, the main person controlling the demon, you've still got looting to enjoy, you've still got driving around, you've still got killing the AI bosses, you've still got all the hunting for all the different tasks that you can do. It's so much fun. So I think at this point I need to kind of just run through the whole gist about Evil Dead the game. I'm just gonna picture myself if people are listening that are aliens, so I could just describe it a lot more and just get into that. So the main point of Evil Dead the game is that there's 4 survivors and there's 1 demon or deadite, and everyone has their different classes and stuff, which I'll get into later. And you hop into a massive open world. It is huge. We don't even know if up until this point that, because I only just played the beta, if the map that we play on is the full map. We don't know if there's 2 open world maps. We don't know if there's just one that's just incredibly massive. Point is, it's a massive open world, and you have to go around the map and you have to loot and then find different items. And the survivor's main quest is to look for, there's 3 different map parts for the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, and it will tell you on the map where all these different locations and where different map parts are and all that jazz. And now you've got to go with your team and you've got to strategize a method to get all these different things. And then once you've got all 3 pieces of the map, you've got to then it shows you then the location of the pages of the Necronomicon and the Kandarian dagger. Now it shows you exactly where they are on the map, and what you have to do is that you have to go to both of these locations and you have to protect them from an onslaught of deadites, which the main demon has to hunt you down and summon all these different demons and bosses and all these different traps for the player. Because what the deadite has to do, it floats around the map like the actual movement from Evil Dead, like, you know, the POV of the demon flying around. That's very much how it feels to play the demon. And you have to go around the map and you have to sorry, pardon me, I just had a Pepsi. You have to go around the map and you have to pick up all these different orbs. Then those are equivalent to points, and then those points that you get you can spend on traps, just different deadites. And once you level up, you can then summon different bosses, which I'll get into later on. So then once the survivor has actually gotten these pages and the Kandarian dagger, then you have to take on the Dark Ones. Now, I haven't finished Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3 just yet, but I know who the Dark Ones are. They basically look like 4 Darth Banes, which I still haven't finished Clone Wars just yet, so I can't exactly say who Darth Bane is, but I know what he looks like. So then you have to go and you have to actually fight these mini AI boss, and at the same time, the open world is getting, there's like a border like out of a battle royale, and the border slowly just gets smaller and smaller until you get to the Dark Ones. And then you have to use the dagger and the pages to defeat them, whilst the actual main demon player is trying to stop you from doing that. And then once you kill the Dark Ones, you then put the pages and the actual Necronomicon together, and you have to guard it. You have to guard that from the actual demon player, and then once you do that on the survivor side, you win. Now, that is a lot. And I'm so glad that it's not something like you have to just get all this stuff and then survive after a certain amount of time. There's an actual, there's a full-on objective to it. And it's not like you can just, oh, I'll get that done later on, all these different tasks. There's a time limit to it, but the time limit is not very constrained at all. You've got roughly 35 minutes to get all of this done. And I'd say that's not too quick, not too small of a time. You've got plenty of time to get all that stuff done. Go have a look at different locations, find weapons, loot, all of that. And that's why I think Evil Dead the game is just, it's fantastic. It's, as an Evil Dead fan, there is so much in there. And this is just a beta. This is just a beta, and we still haven't even played on the cabin just yet. I was looking around for the cabin for ages on the first weekend, and I couldn't find it. And I've been watching all these different streamers play it. Like, it's kind of surreal to see Vanos playing with Bruce Campbell, who's Vanos is my favorite YouTuber. Bruce Campbell plays Ash, one of my favorite characters of all time. It's very surreal to see all that. And there's a section where you go into the cabin, and it very much like, it seems like there's another map that you can play on. And I really hope that's the case, that there's 2 different maps, and I'm pretty sure there is. And speaking of locations, I'm very happy to say that it's not just a big forest. There's different locations that feel like they have a weight to it. And it wouldn't be just a case of they're just plopped in the middle of nowhere for no reason. No. It would be, there's like a mini town somewhere. There's a gas station that belongs to Jake from Evil Dead 2, which is incredible. There's just so many different locations. And there's like a big farm. There's just a lot. There's even Bruno's hut from Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 1, which is amazing to see, because I just stumbled upon that, and I was like, wait a second, is this Bruno's hut? And I looked outside, and it was. And I can tell that some people might be frustrated with the fact that they might have just Bruno's hut, and it's not just in the middle of nowhere. They've actually got locations near that. And I'm actually happy with that, because if it was just Bruno's hut in the middle of just a big forest, away from loads of different things, it might be a bit of a pain to get to different places. But I like how they filled out the map. You know, it doesn't, and nothing feels too close together. It all just feels just beautifully placed out. And I'm so excited to explore the second map. It seems that they've, I've seen gameplay, they've actually got the tunnel from the opening of Evil Dead 2. And I've seen snippets of the cabin, and I really hope that you can go inside the base. I'm pretty sure you can, but I really hope that the team of, is it, I can't remember, I apologise, honestly, I can't remember the company that's made this. Is it Boss Games or something like that? But I really hope that they've done things inside the cabin that make it just feel like it's not just a cabin on the map. It feels like it actually tributes a lot of things from Evil Dead 2 and 1 and all that. And you can also go to the bridge that was destroyed in Evil Dead 1 and 2. That's amazing to see. I love how they're not just putting in the cabin, they're actually making it so all these different things, well, the movies reference different points, they're all placed nicely packed together. It's genius. As a fan of this franchise, it's so good to see just things being treated so right. And I'll just get into some characters real quick. Considering this is a launch roster and in a beta as well, they've chosen so many great characters. It almost feels like this is a it almost feels like the roster is launch plus DLC. The amount that they've gone for. You can play as Ash, you can play as Cheryl, you can play as Scotty, you can play as Pablo, you can play as Kelly, you can play as King Arthur, you can play as Henry the Red, you can play as Amanda, you can Annie Novi, who I really wanted to play because I love her character in the second film. And not only that, they've gone and got a majority of the voice actors. They've got Scotty back, they've got Cheryl back, they've got all the ones from Ash vs. Evil Dead back. I believe that there's a few that they didn't get back for some people, but I'm fine with that, to be honest with you. I'm not too picky on voices. I'm just happy to have the actual character there. And I don't know, I haven't even mentioned this just yet, but Evil Dead has had a pretty annoying history with licenses, because every single time they had to make another movie, like for example when they made Evil Dead 2, they didn't fully have the rights to Evil Dead 1. And when they made Army of Darkness, they didn't fully have the rights to Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 1. So the fact that they've gone to all these different companies and they've managed to get the licensing for the show, Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness, and it's just so great to see all these different companies together just making Evil Dead. And it shouldn't be too complicated to see Army of Darkness characters interact with Evil Dead 2 characters, but as a fan of this franchise, it's just it's just so great to see that something that would seem really difficult to make happen. It's like having what's his name from Kingdom Hearts, Sora. It's like having Sora in Smash. It's that kind of feeling. And another thing I'd like to mention is that you'd probably be thinking, well, can everyone be Ash? Can everyone be Cheryl? There's a really good way that they've gone around it. There's not everyone can be the same character, but I'm guessing that the developers had an issue with, but surely everyone would want to be Ash. And how they've overcome that is that they didn't just make Ash one character and give him, say, an Army of Darkness skin or an Ash vs. the Evil Dead skin. They've made it so each Ash from the 4 major parts in the franchise, shown in the 3 films, is his own character. So everyone can be Ash, but not the same version, which is what I really, really like. I love how they've actually overcome the issue with everyone can be Ash, but not the same version. So it just feels really nice to play. And how all these different characters are sorted into all these different categories. It's like you've got Hunter, you've got Support, you've got Leader, and you've got Warrior. And there's certain things that you kind of have to take with you. Is that you'd really need a support, because characters like Cheryl Williams can heal the entire team. And Ash, who was in the Hunter class, I forgot to mention this, everyone has their own main super ability, kind of like their Super Smash. And Ash vs. Evil Dead 2's ability, he can make a possessed Deadite just get unpossessed, because sometimes the actual main Deadite can just control a demon, and they can just either completely destroy you and your entire team. So he's a very useful player to have to just quickly get them out of that possessed phase. It is certain characters and abilities. It's like you don't want all leaders, you don't want all support, you want a little bit of everything. And I love how they actually put all these different characters into different sections. It's like you would think old Ash would be a leader. You would think Scotty and Army of Darkness Ash to be like the warrior. You would sort of think that, and the way they've tributed that so well, it's just I'm just so happy, because you've got all these great characters in the franchise. Obviously, there could be some for DLC, which I'll probably get into a bit later. They've just done such a good job with all these different characters, and I promise you guys I'll talk to this later, the Deadites. Now, I'm personally, with these type of asymmetrical horror games, I mostly play the survivor. I occasionally hop on Killer on Dead by Daylight. I don't play much of Jason in Friday the 13th, but I'm mainly a survivor guy. So before the beta ended, I thought I'd probably just stay on and I might as well play with Deadite just in case I got to do a little mini sit down or podcast and stuff. And playing as a Deadite is very different from your typical Jason or your Dead by Daylight killers, because you've really got to, you can follow all these different players around, and they can't see you, but you can hear the demon growling. So as I'm a survivor, I can hear the demon growling. I'm like, oh guys, the main killer's following me right now. You make sure you do all that, or your quest while he's after me. And how it works is that you collect all these different orbs to build up your power and your level. And it would be, say for example, level 5 possess this tree, or level 10 summon this specific type of Deadeye. And I'm really happy that it's not just the occasional fly around and attack and do all that kind of stuff. Certain things that I never thought that they'd be able to do, they did. They went the extra mile with the demon. I knew this the moment that they released the Deadite trailer. I was like, okay, please blow me away right now. Please blow me away. And I don't think there's really a single thing I wish that they would have included. They've done so much. They've made it so that you can possess cars while players are driving them. They've made it so you can actually possess players which there's a feature in the survivors where if you're scared enough and if you don't go to a campfire to lower your fear level, the Deadite can control you and make your character attack other players, which can completely catch you off guard. And even if there's no players in the area, they can still possess you. And that can either make you run into the fog at the end of the game and kill you, or they can just be a massive troll and just fire your gun into the air and just get rid of all your ammo. It's just things like that. Just goofy, like the franchise itself. I just love it. And what else can you do? You can make it so when players are looting, you can actually corrupt a chest and make it so instead of an item popping out, you get Ash's hand from Evil Dead 2 jumps on your face and gives you the middle finger, or little ashes pop out from Army of Darkness. It's all these little things that make me so happy. And on top of that, each class that you can play as the Deadite, there's Necromancer, Puppeteer, and I think it's Witch or something like that. I can't remember the last one. And you can't just play as Deadites. Obviously, when you think of Evil Dead franchise, you think of like specific Deadites that kind of come to mind. And I'm very happy to say that at the launch roster, you can play as Henrietta, Elagos, and Evil Ash. Now, that is a launch roster that I'm pretty happy with, because each of them doesn't just play the same. No. Each of them plays so much different. There's loads of times where me and my friend Ben and George and Lily and there's a few of my friends, I'll get a nice little shout out to them, by the way, they're all amazing. We would all just, the moment Elagos shows up, we'd be like, oh god, it's Elagos, and we'd have to approach him in a slightly different way, because he can teleport and go invisible. And when Evil Ash shows up, we've all got to go up and rush him. And it would be the same with Henrietta, we've all got to keep your distance, so each Deadite doesn't play exactly the same. Everyone's different, which is what I love. I love how it's not just a copy and paste carbon copy. Everyone's different. Everyone has a different playstyle. It makes me so happy. And I think my favourite to play as is Evil Ash, because it's just the fact that I just love his look, and you've got the sword, and you can essentially suck people's soul like Shang Tsung to get more health. Like, your soul is mine. And as this really disgusting thing that Henrietta can do is that you can grab players and make them feast on your boob and they gargle on your breast milk, which I need to keep my voice down because there are parents in the next room and they'll probably be thinking, what are you talking about, you freakazoid? So if they're here, I do apologise, Mum. I will speak to you about that in a minute. And another thing I forgot to mention is that each Deadite class, demon or Deadite, I just say Deadite. Each Deadite class comes with their own AIs. And what I mean by that is that the typical Deadites that you get to fight with, say Henrietta, they're just normal possessed Deadites. And with Elagos, it would be, pardon me, the same kind of weird demon species of Elagos and like human clothing. And I think my favourite to fight is the Army of Darkness skeletons, because there are so many different types. And all these skeletons have like weird Viking armor and all that. And they didn't have this in the first beta, but in the second beta, they've made it so the skeletons speak to you whilst they fight. And there's nothing more I love than just skeletal type, goofy ass skeletons in Army of Darkness. There'll be times where I was down and some skeleton went, "I'll replace my bones with your bones," or I'd kill one of them and they'd go, "Oh, you almost hit my bones," or "I've got a bone to pick with you." It's just stuff that makes me laugh. And they didn't have to do that. They could have just been mindless AI, but they gave them personality. They gave a skeleton personality. It's just insane to me, the level of care and just everything that they've done to Evil Dead, the franchise. It's such a tribute. And I just love it. I love it so much. And as a survivor, it wouldn't be a typical, oh, I found this gun, I found that gun. Oh, there's so much the same. There's 25 weapons as a survivor at launch. And on top of that, each one has its different rarity. And I think that there's common, rare, ultra rare, and legendary. And I remember the last game I ever had before I left for the beta, I didn't even know this. I was walking around and I saw an open chest, and I said to my friend, just like, do you think there's a legendary broomstick in this game? And yes, by the way, there is a broomstick. There's a broomstick in this game. And I just found a legendary broomstick on the ground, and it is powerful. It can like 5-shot Elagos, who is powerful, by the way. You'll realize that when you play the full game. And each rarity has its own different camo. Like the legendary broomstick had like a weird Viking swashbuckling feel to it with all bones up here. And I also found that it's epic, not ultra rare. I found an epic broomstick, and that had the American camo all up the side of it. And that's the same with a lot of weapons. Like you can find an epic chainsaw. You can find all this great loot. Another thing that I was very happy about is Pink Fuck, which is a drink that Ash and his friend made in Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2. And what you got to do is that you go around the map and you find bottles of Pink Fuck or Pink F, whatever they're referred to. It's called Pink F in this game because probably a drink or something like that, but I call it Pink Fuck. And you find bottles of this, and you can use, how many you get, you can use them to level up your character's strength, stamina, shield, everything. And it'll be each character you play. Say, for example, you're playing as the warrior, there'll be more tiers to unlock your combat skills. Or if you're playing as the hunter, like Evil Dead 2 Ash, he's got more tiers on his shooting abilities. And I love that. I love how there's a sense of so much you can do. It's not just loot you've got to get. It's not just amulets that you've got to find, which builds up your shield, by the way. You got to worry about your speed, your stamina, which you can level up. You got to worry about your health. It's not just pick up a gun and go and worry about health. There's so much more than that. The developers have made it so that you have so many different things to do, and I love that. Just give me so much things to do in a game, and I'll never get bored. Never get bored. That's why I think this game will be up there with just one of the best asymmetric horror games ever. Like, I genuinely think that this might be as successful, if not more, than Dead by Daylight, because of how fun it is, and how much the developers have actually attributed all these different games. And another thing that does annoy me, but in a good way, is that, because obviously I always play as Ash, Evil Dead 2 Ash, actually, just in case, if any of you guys join my lobby, that is my character. You leave Evil Dead 2 Ash alone, he is mine. Each Ash speaks, and obviously they got Bruce Campbell back, and every time I'm about to do a finisher on a Deadeye, I'd about to say, like, swallow this, or this is my boomstick, or all these different quotes that all these different Ashes say. They say it the moment I'm about to say it. But obviously that's not a fault. It's just sometimes I'm like, I was about to say that. I know all these different quotes. And they made sure to put all these different iconic quotes and voice lines in the franchise, which is it's just so good to see the level of care. And if you guys are wondering which edition I've got, yes, I've pre-ordered the game, and I got the £120 edition. And the reason I didn't go further than that is because the biggest edition comes with all the stuff I get with the normal edition, but I get a replica of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. But the funniest thing is that I already have it. I already brought it a few months ago, back in October, so there's no reason to get that edition. And the edition I get a really cool Savini Ash Skin made by Tom Savini, and it's basically like a big Frankenstein version of Ash with all blood, and he's all pale skin, it's covered in barbed wire. And I just realised that a few days ago that skin is for Evil Dead 2 Ash, which makes me very happy. And also going to say, I get a really nice steelbook, I get a vinyl, I get an art book, I get all this crazy stuff. And a few other things I'd like to mention is the vehicles you can play in. Yes, you can play as Ruby. You can play with Ruby's car. You can take a ride in the Delta, and yeah, they tribute this game so much. And I haven't really looked into a lot of perks, but I know that they are useful. I think a few would be, for example, make sure I only really looked at this for Evil Dead 2 Ash, but your gun does more damage, or headshots do more damage, or if you can level it up enough, one of your ashes can spawn with a chainsaw, or they can spawn with a weapon. So it's just little things like that. It's just so good. It's great. Please buy this game. It is only £35 in this country. I don't know what it is in the States, or Jaden, if you're listening, I'm not sure how much money it is in Australia. I don't know the exact currency there because I'm a bit brain dead. Yeah, this game is really something else. If you're a fan of asymmetric horror, you will love this. If you're fans of Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, you will love this. If you're fans of Evil Dead, you will love this. If you're fans of just gaming and open world games in general, you will love this. Buy this game. Really do buy this game. Please, it's fantastic. I'm going to make sure, if you guys want me to, I'll make sure to do all sorts of videos and gameplay videos with my friends. Maybe in a bit of a review when it comes out, even though this is kind of a basically a review anyway, so I might just leave it at that. A few more things I might mention before I let this go is what I'd like after the game comes out in terms of post-launch content. Now, I think the entire community has been craving for this, is some sort of Army of Darkness open world with a castle, with a graveyard, with just in the Middle Ages. If any developers are listening, which I very doubt that they're not, but if you are listening, hi, you're amazing, you've made such a great game. Please add an Army of Darkness castle or a map or any of that, because if you've gone out your way to go get the Army of Darkness license, everyone wants an Army of Darkness castle to play in. That would be fantastic. And in terms of post-launch content, in terms of characters and demons, I'd very much so like Brandy, Ash's daughter. I'd very much like Ruby, good Ruby or bad Ruby, or Ball would be great. Maybe the Wise Man or the Tinkerer guy in Army of Darkness. Maybe who else? Linda. I'm not sure about Jake because sadly the actor has passed away. Maybe even some characters from the reboot. No, that would be fun. Even some characters from the reboot. I think maybe even Chet, or just you've still got loads of characters left that you can do. And in terms of demons, I've been thinking about this. Maybe have a big class where you can play as Coogie, the Deadite cheetah mascot from season 3 of Ash vs. Evil Dead, or Ball, or maybe even the flying demon from the pit in Army of Darkness. There's so many different types of demons and characters they can add, and just do it. Just do it. People would eat that up, and people would spend money on that. People would buy that DLC straight away. And maybe even an asylum map, which would be really, really creepy and fun to play in, or a high school, or if it's not on the second map that we haven't seen a lot of just yet, maybe even Esmar. There's so much that they can do, and people would love it. People would genuinely love it. There's so much praise going around and so much love and celebration for Evil Dead, because what this essentially is just a big tribute to Evil Dead as a franchise and all the fans. Do it. Make all that content. A big Army of Darkness castle would be amazing. Just do it. Do it. That would be fantastic. That would be absolutely incredible. Overall, guys, buy this game. And actually, before I close off, I might share a pretty funny experience that I've had with my friend Lily. We were playing a map. We were playing a match, and we were walking around, and we're like, where's this demon? This Deadite hasn't attacked us a lot just yet. And we both got a party invite. And we joined. We didn't exactly know who it is. We thought it was the demon. We joined, and it was some really polite guy, and he was like, oh, hello. I was like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, hey, you know the Jake's gas station? Oh, yeah. When we had like a mini fight/battle in there, you parked the car right in front of the bathroom door, and I'm trapped. Could you mind just reversing it so I could get loose and continue playing? So we could have just left him, But the fact that we went all the way over just to get in the car and reverse just to let him out was hilarious. He was so polite. I really wish I could remember his username, but it was so funny. And yeah, buy this game. It is so much fun. It's so much fun with friends. Buy this game. Alright, fellas, so let me know what you think of solo podcasts. Maybe I can do a bit more for you guys, or maybe if you want me to do like some gameplay videos, or when the full game comes out, let me know, because I'll make sure to buy a capture card. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, like, share, that would be great to get some more viewers, and as always, stay groovy.